You're probably familiar with this loop. You stumble upon something interesting online, which leads you to more content: TikTok, text, music, videos, podcasts, TV shows. One moment it's cat videos floating through your feed. The next, you're captivated in news articles fueling your fears and anxieties about the future. To cope with those depressive thoughts, you often dive back into cat videos or some random celebrity news, restarting the cycle all over again. After a while, you're so consumed by mindless content consumption that escaping the constant stream of instant gratification in real life seems almost impossible. It's like we become addicted to having everything everywhere all at once, ready for immediate response. Well, after reading a lot on how the digital world is affecting our lives, I think that the more time we spend interacting with the digital world, the more disconnected we become from our humanity. I've been working remotely since the pandemic, and I've noticed that spending too much time swapping between online content draws me into a speculative loop, making it harder to stay grounded in reality. At 28 years old, it's common for me to spend days, or sometimes even a whole week, moving between asynchronous tasks, messages, and endless content consumption, without any real human interaction. Weekends often leave me feeling drained, and the mere thought of leaving my home to interact with others in person is like a daunting challenge. If I'm not mindful, I tend to withdraw from social interactions completely. This pattern reminds me of what psychiatrist Marty Asberg describes as the downward spiral of depression, where these sequences of harmful thoughts slowly pull us away from doing the things we enjoy. And as a result, our energy drains even more, leaving us stuck in survival mode. To just, try to keep with the good work. Doesn't this spiral feel similar to the digital world? The velocity that we are consuming content, switching up the facts, memes, and fiction, distorts our reality, narrowing our focus to wherever we're currently interested in. It's as if our brains have turned into a screen with endless tabs open, each click offering new, curated content for our immediate needs. Devices and platforms are designed to make us feel productive, attractive, funny, and intelligent, creating echo chambers that confine us to an infinite controlled bubble. This constant consumerism of online content that aligns with our views often creates an inflated sense of importance, making us feel more indispensable than we truly are. But we don't realize is how this overexposure alters our self-perception and expectations in reality, leading us to devalue boring conversations as we begin to believe our attention is too precious to waste. A common example of this is when we find ourselves mindlessly scrolling through our phones instead of engaging meaningfully with the people around us. In fact, research shows that even the mere presence of smartphones in social settings can hinder the development of intimacy and emotional connection. In social media, we are lured into the false belief that we are actively participating in discussions, when in reality, we are most of the time merely passively reacting to personalized content. This perpetuates an endless cycle of needing to be entertained, as we swipe, like, and dislike every piece of content or comment we encounter. In real life, this dynamic feeds an expectation not just to be on the right side of history or to hold an opinion on everything, but to perform those opinions in a way that aligns with our social group of choice. We are mentally conditioned to react on any misstep, always ready to drop the mic for an invisible audience, turning every conversation into a carefully staged performance. It consequently amplifies polarized thinking. This exacerbation of the constant need to react online fuels an us versus them mentality, reducing our ability to empathize, collaborate, or engage with more complex perspectives. It becomes easier to fill in the blanks, seal the box we've been taught to place them in, and move on without a second thought. And I think this is why people are struggling in dating. Excessive time spending consuming curated content creates unrealistic expectations of a perfect match. We start to expect our partners to be as polished, fast, and predictable as an Instagram feed, and not as a flawed human being that might have weird opinions and desires and struggles, as we all do. Instead of opening ourselves to the potential of a new relationship, we retreat into the digital world, seeking deeper into content that offers us a false sense of being heard, connected, and validated. It feels like all these devices and platforms have created a space in our minds where there's no room for the process of our journey, only the destination. Either you win it and you've won, or you're not and you're a failure. We're stuck in an all or nothing mindset, spinning in a loop that divides the world into two extremes. One filled with instant rewards, opportunity, and optimism, and the other steeped in chaos, complexity, and fear. In this framing, reality inevitably becomes the villain. When reality feels overwhelming and it seems like the people with the power to create change aren't paying attention to the voices that truly matter, it's tempting to ask, why should we even care? Information overload occurs when we are bombarded with more information than we can process or manage effectively. It's the result of an overwhelming volume of content that demands our attention, leaving us mentally drained and unable to make meaningful decisions. Think about scrolling through your social media feed, where you're confronted with an endless stream of updates, political news, lifestyle tips, posts for friends, or advertisements, all clamoring for your time. Each one seems important in its own way. But the constant flow of information slowly blurs the line between what truly matters and what's just noise.
The loss of emotional resources is reflected in emotional exhaustion, which leaves people feeling emotionally drained, tired, and emotionally cut off from their work. People feel discounted and lazy for their work. Generally, it results from long-term revelation to work expectations that are too much for a person to hold, which leaves them feeling powerless and less able to support the emotional needs of others.
This work-related symptom perfectly illustrates how digital influence shapes our perception of reality. As a result, we withdraw, becoming indifferent, apathetic, silent, disconnected, lonely, distracted. Research has shown that the mere presence of a smartphone can reduce our attentional performance. Even if it's turned off, the knowledge that it's there can drain our cognitive abilities, making it harder to focus, listen, and retain information. Our dependency on devices and the way we consume content is also eroding our memory and critical thinking abilities. This is PhD Gloria Mark, Chancellor's Professor of Informatics at the University of California, for the Speaking of Psychologists podcast.
So back in 2004, we found the average attention span on any screen to be 2.5 minutes on average. Throughout the years, it became shorter. So around 2012, we found it to be 75 seconds. This is with logging techniques. This is an average. And then in the last 5-6 years, we found it to average about 47 seconds. I would argue it's not a good thing for the following reasons. First of all, we find in our research a correlation between frequency of attention switching and stress. So the faster the attention switching occurs, stress as measured by people wearing heart rate monitors, we show that stress goes up. I will also measure that when people shift their attention so fast, and this is multitasking, when you keep switching your attention among different activities, people make more errors. And that's been shown in studies in the real world with physicians, nurses, pilots. We also know that performance slows. Why? Because there's something called a switch cost. So every time you switch your attention, you have to reorient to that new activity, that new thing you're paying attention to, and it takes a little bit of time.
The rise of short-form content has fundamentally reshaped the way we engage with the world around us. Every platform, every video, and every piece of content, online or in real life, is now being created to capture our attention within the first 5 seconds, or risk losing us entirely. Our diminishing focus is clearly reflected in a sea of data, showing how marketing keeps innovating to capitalize on this rapidly shifting digital landscape with strategies such as microlearning has become a leading learning format. Short-form videos are predicted to account for 90% of internet traffic by 2024. Revenue from short-form video ads is expected to exceed $10 billion. With content becoming shorter, the strategies to drive subscriptions, followers, and engagement now focus on triggering dopamine hits, capturing our attention in mere seconds to encourage impulsive decisions. This constant push for quick engagement has given rise to something called dopamine design, where creators and designers carefully craft content to give us instant hits of pleasure and reward. Vibrant colors, punchy visuals, rapid edits, and emotionally charged looks all serve to keep us hooked. Over time, this trend doesn't just affect how we consume content, it shapes how we perceive value. What we now recognize in design and content isn't depth or meaning, it's the ability to deliver a quick, surface-level high that keeps us coming back for more. Stanford psychiatry professor and bestseller author Anna Lembke explained in Dopamine Nation.
With prolonged and repeated exposure to pleasurable stimuli, our capacity to tolerate pain decreases, and our threshold for experiencing pleasure increases. The net effect is that we now need more reward to feel pleasure and less injury to feel pain. This recalibration is occurring not just at the level of the individual, but also at the level of nations.
The constant chase for instant gratification weakens our ability to handle adversity and discomfort. And if we lose the ability to think deeply, stay focused, and push through the discomfort, how can we work together to create a fair and sustainable future? These qualities aren't just nice to have, they're essential for building the kind of world we all hope to live in. Our excessive exposure to digital content, combined with the machinery of capitalism, is shaping our mind to reinforce superficial, selective engagement, turning our attention into a mere commodity. We've reached a point where it no longer matters if what's being said is true or false. Decisions are being made based on what triggers us, and what triggers us more than anything in a society marked by scarcity and trauma? Fear. The latest US election clearly shows how broken our communication has become. The far-right's refusal to engage in dialogue, paired with AI speeding up the collapse of journalism, makes it harder to find the truth and only deepens the divides between us. And the far-right will keep leveraging this polarized landscape. It's time to let go of this nostalgia for the internet of the early 2000s. A time when we believed it could unite us, spark innovation, and create a brighter, more connected world. That hopeful vision is long gone, giving way to a reality shaped by algorithms to exploit our time, attention, emotions, and even kill the most beautiful and human part of us, the desire to create a world where everyone can thrive. We need to face reality. The internet isn't something we control anymore, it's controlling us. What once felt like a tool for empowerment has turned into a race where we run faster and faster to oblivion. We are already becoming zombies. Restless, irritable, and addicted to chasing the next dopamine hit. Always waiting for the next release, the next distraction, isolating and perpetually dissatisfied with every people, video, image, text, content, show, app, tool right under our fingers, pushing us to consume more, learn more, and stay on top of what's happening, and yet we've never felt so empty.
Doghouse is what defeated me. I got doghouse. I got doghouse. I got a full doghouse. Full doghouse, dude. Full doghouse. Full fucking doghouse, dude. Dude. I got doghouse.
We're stuck in a fake production designed to get everything we want. We all are, in a way, living inside our own Truman Show, except this time, The fake production doesn't surround us in an amusing little town. It lives in our pockets, on our screens, and in our minds, hypnotizing us with an endless feed of content. Much like in Truman's world, we're living in an artificial dome designed to keep us inside. It's no coincidence that we've never felt so lonely, longing for authentic relationships that seem harder to find. While Truman's world was controlled by one director, ours is governed by billionaires who control platforms, media outlets, and algorithms powered by our own data. Every swipe, every notification strengthens the invisible walls of a trap we've been conditioning to accept as normal, making escaping this constructed reality feel like an impossible dream. The algorithm doesn't just shape our behaviors, it narrows our ability to dream, to connect authentically, and to participate fully in a reality that exists beyond the screen. And when we mistake this current reality for the real world, it becomes increasingly difficult to step outside of it, to question it, and to imagine a life beyond the confines of the show. The question is, will we keep going along with the illusion, happy to stay in the comfort of the show? Or will we, like Truman, challenge the boundaries of our digital world and take back control of our own reality? While I may not believe in some grand force that will spark a massive change, I do believe that your future is in your hands. Right now, you have the power to consciously decide how you engage with the digital world. Start by choosing platforms or apps that aligns with our values, those that prioritize community, creativity, or learning over mindless scrolling. Take deliberate breaks from your phone or laptop and reconnect with offline activities that brings you joy, like reading, journaling, exercising, spending time with family and friends, or being surrounded by nature. The first step to find balance over our digital consumerism is becoming aware of how screens are shaping our life, your attention, and your relationships, and then taking action to regain control before it takes over your soul and your wallet. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and support this channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Love you. Bye.